Hello, welcome to my little series of videos called Always Meet Your Heroes, where I get the chance to speak to some of the people that I look up to and have shaped my biking life from back in the day. And in today's video, it's all about Mark Forsyth, who's the ex-editor of Performance Bikes magazine, who I'm sure most of you watching this will know. And I grabbed the chance to ask him a few questions after we'd finished shooting the video on his Ducati 888 Corsa for my race report video series. Now, like many of you watching who grew up reading PB back in the day, I mean, it was a massive influence on our biking lives, wasn't it? And I'd say for me, there are 5 people of that era that really influenced kind of my riding, my racing, mucking about on a bike, and eventually that journey that led me to being an MCN road tester. And there'll be 5 people. Mark Forsyth was one of them, you know, fantastic rider, racer in PB back in the day, the spotty Arai, the stunts and all the rest of it. Matt Oxley, the OG kind of superstar road tester who had his Taichi leathers, Arai crash helmet, you know, the pink and white one, Ray Suzuka, rode all the fantastic MotoGP or 500 Grand Prix bikes as they were back then. He was at the helm when I bought my first ever PB, which was the Lamborghini and the FZR 1000 cover. And it was inspired by me seeing the one before. One of my friends, Dave Rook, had it, and it was the cover where there was loads of 125s just lying on their sides, probably at Bruntingthorpe or something like that, with an overhead camera looking down. That set me off on my journey. So Matt Oxley, he's obviously doing his Oxley Bomb podcast now, had a really amazing MotoGP journalist. Rupert Paul, who was another editor back in the day, really clever. Again, had all the right gear, rode fantastically, brilliant pictures, amazing inspiration. Simon Hargreaves is the same, ex-PB editor, still doing front-end chatter now. I still work with him, he's a freelancer now. But again, all the crazy stunts he got up to, amazing writer. I mean, there's a theme here, they're all amazing writers. And then Trevor Franklin, who again, you know, ticks all the boxes, the ones I've just mentioned. And I actually got to work with him, sat next to him at a desk when he was working at MCN for over a decade. And, you know, you could maybe include the sort of early fast bikes crew in that inspiration. The Colin Schiller days when it first came about, when all the writing was on the wrong colour on the wrong pages, and it was all mixed up, but it was brilliant because you had the Emmett brothers who just, their riding was amazing. I'm not sure if they actually wrote most of the stuff, probably Colin Schiller did, and the same with Shaky Byrne. So they're a massive influence back in the day. And I still get starstruck when I speak to these people. You know, I work with Hargreaves and I get a little bit tongue-tied when I speak to him. I definitely did with Mark Forsyth. I even do with Trev and all the others. So they really are proper heroes and, you know, poster people for me, really, you know, as well as all the racers of the day like Schwantz and Doohan that I really loved. In modern times, there are loads of other journalists that I really like and respect. But, you know, the ones that really shaped my biking interest were ones right when I started, when I was kind of 18 to 25, I suppose, were the halcyon days of the magazine world, I think. You know, great writers, great photography, great ideas. You know, Trevor even came around my house once to fix my lounge light. And I remember thinking, wow, it's Trevor Franklin in my house. So what were your magazine heroes? It would be interesting to hear. Maybe you're a different era to me when you first started getting into bikes. But this first one is all about Mark Forsyth. Don't tell him I've made this video, whatever you do. And let's hand over to him. But before I sign off here, it would be remiss not to talk about you as you're in your PB days, because, you know, for a lot of people watching, and for me included, you're a massive part of our lives when PB was...
Old farts' lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In its absolute heyday, wasn't it? I mean, how many copies were you selling back then? It was 100,000 touch?
100, I think the biggest one we had was 103,000, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, a bit different
It's
world,
just very
really.
different world.
Yeah.
Sports bike obsessed, weren't we? Back then.
100%, yeah.
Your crash helmet with
Spotty
the
crash helmet.
spotty crash helmet. So that's one of the three things I really remember about you that really stick in mind is the massive jump over the where was that on the FZR 600?
Oh, Lythe Valley, yeah, and up in Cumbria, yeah. That went badly wrong. Then.
Did it?
Yeah,
What
it
happened?
Did. Well, I used to live up there before I took the job on PB. All the bikes that I had were shit, like so dreadful. 400 quid things like CB 404s and nothing good.
Yeah.
And I regularly used to do that jump, not bat an eyelid, and it's the first time I'd done it on a proper bike with hot sticky tyres and hit it at probably 90. But there's a corner before, and I actually hit it cranked over. So when I took off, the bike went sideways.
No.
And Goldman dropped his cameras and ran.
Yeah.
And it was feet off footrests. Stayed on, but it wasn't through skill. It was just good luck.
Just luck.
Yeah. But he got the picture before he dropped the camera and ran.
Great picture.
So, yeah.
I remember the Garfield knee sliders.
Yes. Yeah. 1000X up.
Was it?
I wrote
that was on the cover, wasn't it?
At the TT the night before my first practice.
Did you?
Yeah. It was very difficult to write that.
Yeah, I bet.
I had a lot on my mind.
What were your memories of those days? Being in magazine world.
Hilarity. It was just like every day. It was just like belly laughs. And
yeah. And that came through, didn't it? With the writing and the pictures.
I hope so.
You're allowed to get away with a lot more what you showed back then. You know, nowadays you can't even show knee down.
We have it's called Summer Wine Club, and there's a group of old bastards like me.
Yeah.
Go to the pub on a Friday night. I was telling them a story last week. I got a phone call from, do you remember Ian Templeton, the slug balancer?
I think so,
He had a really shit tash. Right. He rang me, he was my boss at the time, and he rang me up and said, Mark, I need words. I was like, oh shit, now what? Knocked on his door, and he said, I've just been reviewing your expenses claims. And he says, do you mind if I use this in a presentation I'm doing to the board tomorrow? And I went, what? He says, £400 worth of vibrators. So we've gone to the sex shop on Oundle Road.
Yeah.
Bought all their dildos and vibrators, and we made the word vibrators using the vibrators. It was a single cylinder group test.
Oh, God.
But he signed it off. Yeah.
You definitely wouldn't do that now.
No.
What were your best memories of kind of best launches or best tests that you did back then? Is there anything that really sticks in your mind?
I thought I had loads of them. Probably a highlight was Avon radial launch in France.
Right.
And Avon organised borrowed bikes from dealers, basically fitted them with these new Avon radials, and we went to, where do they make Armagnac? Which part of France is that?
Oh, I don't know.
It was quite a schlep anyway. But
right, yeah.
Do you remember Pat Devereaux, Bike Magazine?
Yeah.
Pat and I made a break from the group, and we were just basically flat out on these long straight roads with avenues of trees either side. Probably doing, what was I? I was on a really trick VFR 750.
Yeah.
I don't know, 150 probably. Went through a police speed trap. Shit. Went over the next crest, turned left and hid behind some trees. Saw these two police bikes go after the rest of the group, and they arrested, I can't remember his name now, Alan, he was the MD of Avon.
Right.
And he had the same colour helmet and jacket as Pat, so they thought it was him. So that took some explaining.
Good old days. And who were your peers then at PB? Was Simon Hargreaves, Trevor Franklin?
No.
That before them?
Rupert, John.
John Robinson. Matt Oxley?
Oxley had just left because I inherited his desk and filing cabinet.
Right.
I found his array contract in there, so I knew what to ask array for.
Really? Fantastic. And what do you think of the media world now?
Don't recognise it.
No. Very different, isn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, everyone, if you need information, you find it yourself on the internet, and you just have to have a healthy bullshit filter, don't you, to work out
exactly
who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Could do something actually to filter that out for you, probably, but...
Yeah. And this is a famous shot on your T-shirt.
I've been...
People genuinely think it was from back in the day, don't they?
They do, yeah.
Do you remember that? What was that shoot? Where did you do it?
We did it on a roundabout. It was an old boy called Roland who had a pub somewhere near Grantham.
Uh-huh.
We'd never met him before, he'd never met us, and just lent us his Vincent and came along to watch as well. It was surreal. And it was the cover story was the history of knee sliding.
That's right.
So we thought we'd make something look old, like it was invented a long time ago. But since then, thanks to the internet, it just keeps popping up as this is John Surtees.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And it does, it amuses me.
If you had £1 for every time.
No, I think Goldman wishes he had £1 for every time. Yeah.
Exactly. Brilliant. So there you go. I could have asked them 1,000,001 more questions, but like all the journalists I mentioned at the beginning, and like most journalists, they're all very modest. They don't really think that what they've done is that special. It's just a job, even though a very enjoyable job. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. Hopefully I can catch up with some more people like Mark. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know, and please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.